In?
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What the hell just happened? Holy shit. Alex Clancy here, Locked On Cardinals, post-game reaction podcast. So many things have changed since we talked last. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less in their Prize Pick projections, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. That's prizepicks.com, promo code Locked On. What in the wide world of hell did we just watch? What in the wide world of hell did we just witness? This is almost more improbable than the DeAndre Hopkins Hail Mary catch. Because the Cardinals were winning that game with 40 seconds left. And then Stephon Diggs catches a touchdown pass. Then Kyler Murray does Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins touchdown. This is absolutely bonkers. If you've been under a rock for the last 3 hours or so, the Cardinals win 29-23 in the most improbable fashion. They outscore the Raiders 29-3 in the second half in overtime, when it was looking like the Cardinals didn't know how to play offense at the NFL level in the first half. And it's something that could change the trajectory of a season. What it can do is it can 100% change the immediate future of an organization. And that is absolutely bonkers that this is what just happened. Kyler Murray is that guy. For those that think he's not worth the money, watch around the rest of the NFL. Watch how much bad quarterback play there is. And then you tell me what you watch from Kyler Murray in the second half today isn't QB1 superstar elite quarterback of the future potential. You tell me that you still think that. This is not a one-off. This is what he's been doing his whole career. And the Cardinals offense through 6 quarters of the NFL season so far has looked absolutely atrocious. And then something magical happened. And I'm not even talking about the offense. It's arguable that the defense was the star of the second half. The defense gave up 3 points. Vance Joseph made adjustments. Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons, much maligned during their first year and first 2 years, respectively, with 2 punch-outs on consecutive plays, one of which resulting in Byron Murphy running it back 62 yards to the house for a touchdown. What the hell just happened? I'll tell you what. It's Arizona Cardinals, baby. You never know what's around the corner. You never know what's around the corner. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thanks for hanging out on Twitter Spaces. I kind of like it. Thanks for hanging out on Twitter, on the live, on YouTube, on the live stream. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Cardinals. All that jazz. This is I do post-game ones on purpose right here because enjoying this, luckily, together instead of commiserating what we did last week. This is something that needs to have a spotlight on it in perpetuity. I'm going to talk about a couple things. Still not happy with Cliff Kingsbury. What Vance Joseph did from the first half to second half is why he's so important to this team. Why Vance Joseph is so important to this team is what he did after giving up 20 points in the first quarter, only giving up a field goal in the third quarter and blanking the Raiders in the fourth. That's why Vance Joseph is so important to this team. He can adapt. Is he perfect? No, but he can adapt. Look at what the hell he did during the second half and overtime. Look at what he did. That sparked the offense's ability to go down and do what they do because they actually got the ball in a reasonable time frame. Look at what happened with the Raiders' offense wasn't on the field for almost 45 minutes of real time. I think it said it was their first snap since 4:08 Pacific when they got the ball after Hollywood Brown dropped the pass. A great defensive play by the secondary guy for the Raiders. The Cardinals were able to get momentum offensively. And the reason for that was the defense's ability to get stops. They didn't get pressure on Derek Carr much, but they were able to get stops. And momentum on the defensive side of the ball yields Kyler Murray to do what he does. And even with the Cardinals only giving up 3 points to the Raiders in the second half, there's still no reason why they should have won this game. What Kyler Murray did on the touchdown run, on the 2-point conversion that lasted 20.8 seconds, that'll be number one. I don't even know if ESPN does top 10 anymore. That'll be number one. AJ Green's catch in the back of the end zone. This second half by the Arizona Cardinals offense with the maestro in Kyler Murray is one for the ages. I tweeted this out midway through the third quarter when the Cardinals scored. I'm like, this feels eerily similar to Kyler Murray's week 1 first game in the NFL ever when they were getting smashed at halftime by Detroit at home. And then he brought them back to tie, and where a Tremaine Brock interception missed off his chest plate in Detroit territory for the Cardinals winning that game. So Cardinals fans, you deserve this. What you're feeling right now, you deserve this. This isn't a moral victory. This isn't a, oh, you know what? The Cardinals, this is an Appalachian State against Michigan a handful of years ago. The Cardinals could stack up against this team. They just won in very Arizona Cardinals fashion. And of course, after the defense didn't show up for the first half and didn't show up for the whole first game in week 1 against Kansas City, this game ends with a defensive touchdown. Of course, because damn it does. Of course. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Thanks everybody hanging out. Post game on Twitter Spaces. If you don't have a Twitter account, make one. Follow me at Clancy's Corner and come in at halftime. This is why you're fans of this team. I think what in the wide world did we just watch? I'm going to continue this stream of consciousness before really talking about Cliff Kingsbury and how he tried his damnedest to lose the Cardinals this game. And it didn't happen. Thankfully for the standings, the Cardinals are now tied for first in the NFC West. Exactly how everybody drew it up. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals, rolling on next. More about, I don't know. You tell me what we just watched. I'm going to do a live read for about 90 seconds. Come up with something because I am absolutely flummoxed. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Next, for Prize Picks. Okay? Prize Picks. This is becoming one of my favorite apps. Okay? It's daily fantasy. It's player projections. It's parlays. Okay? You pick 2 to 5 players and see if they go more or less than their prize pick projections. You get up to 10 times your money on any entry. No competing against other players. It's you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers stuff NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, PGA, everything. College football. Entries can be made in 60 seconds. And it's that easy, okay? Safe and fast withdrawals, currently operational over 30 states. Download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, you'll get $100. If you deposit $50, you'll get $50. Math majors out there. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100 with Prize Picks. Woo! This podcast should be brought to you by Ludens. I blew out my vocal cords. It's not that I'm like raw one way or the other. It's like everything you expected not to happen was the next thing that happened. Alex Lindsay, Locked On Cardinals. The Cardinals, a miraculous win, 29-23 over the Las Vegas Raiders, who dropped to 0-2 in the division. Man, if the Cardinals would have lost this game, it would have stung more if they didn't get the two-point conversion, if that two-point conversion got overturned. Kyler Murray with an absolute laser beam to the back of the end zone. A.J. Green, even though he had the drop earlier on, he had 2 drops actually, was able to come up in the clutch. Hollywood Brown, that was not a drop in my opinion. That was a great defensive play, helmet on ball. That was not a drop. I vilified Cliff Kingsbury for that play call on 4th and 1. You're moving the ball down the field. You don't need to go for it on one shot. That was right after running the option where you gain 4 or 5 and not all the way into first down. That would have been nightmare fuel for me. If Derek Carr would have come down, they would have kicked the field goal and lost, because it would have been the same as it's always been. Couple little downsides here. The Cardinals, 12 penalties for 120 yards. 12 penalties for 120 yards. The Raiders, on their first 6 third downs, were 5 for 6. They ended up 6 for 11. The defense came up clutch in the second half, which sparked the Cardinals' ability to do what they did on offense. If the defense didn't do what it did, the Cardinals would not have been in a situation offensively to do what they did. And when Vance Joseph is getting vilified in week 1, he should be getting all of the praise, all of the flowers in week 2. The Cardinals were putting on a performance. They didn't have a stage. Vance Joseph built the damn stage at halftime. And the Cardinals offense were able to do what they did. Zach Ertz came up clutch. Nobody had incredible numbers. Zach Ertz, 8 for 75. Marquise Brown, 6 for 68. Greg Dortch with a huge touchdown, 4 for 55. Nobody had over 75 yards receiving. Zach Ertz had 11 targets. I was screaming for Marquise Brown to have more targets. He had 11, 6 receptions. Kyler Murray, 31 of 49, 277, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Could have been more it could have been 3 picks. But it wasn't. The only downside here was James Conner hobbled, didn't come back. Moving forward, I'm hoping that Darrell Williams gets the lion's share of the carries if James Conner has to miss time, because Darrell Williams has done it before. I know there's Eno Benjamin truthers out there. Eno Benjamin had some chunk gains today, but Darrell Williams, you got to give it to veterans, and Darrell Williams is a vet who's done it. He's been there. And with what we saw, I look at that second half, and that's the way they should play football. I know it's kind of playing with fire, but you got to let Kyler Murray do what he does. And it's not like, oh, you know what? Let's hope plays break down so Kyler Murray can run 1.5 miles behind the line of scrimmage and hope to find something. What I'm talking about more is the offensive line played great in the second half. The defense was on the field a lot, but that's what happens when you have sustained drives and defenses get 3 and outs, and the Cardinals offense is able to do what they do. Pretty much what the Cardinals did in the second half and overtime of this week is what the Chiefs' offense did to the Cardinals' defense last week. It hamstrung them. There's 300-pound guys up front that are trying to rush the passer, and they get tired. That's the goal. The Cardinals were on the field for 36 minutes. The Cardinals were on the field for 36 minutes. That's exactly what needs to happen if the Cardinals want to win games this year. And the fact that they won today says so much about Vance Joseph. It says so much about Kyler Murray. I don't know what it says about Cliff Kingsbury yet. I don't know what it says about him. This isn't me not giving any credit to the coach who calls the plays, okay? But I'm going with history here. I trust Vance Joseph. I trust Kyler Murray. I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury. So when the tie goes to 1, I go with the side that I trust, that I've seen before, and not the side that I haven't. I am still defined by this sentence with this podcast. Kyler Murray wins in spite of Cliff Kingsbury, not because of him. The biggest plays tonight were made by Kyler Murray on broken plays that Cliff Kingsbury called. That is not an opinion. That is a fact, and we saw it. The Cardinals win. Incredible. Vance Joseph should win the MVP over Kyler Murray because Vance Joseph gave Kyler Murray the stage to perform. I'm going to talk about that more. I'm going to talk about Cliff a little bit, but I really would like for Cardinals fans listening here, thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out. Twitter Spaces, YouTube, live here. You deserve this. You deserve this. I'm going to talk about it more next. First, Turo. I use Turo, okay? It's an app. It's a website. It's a car-sharing marketplace. Think of like Airbnb, but for cars. It's incredible. It's the world's largest car-sharing marketplace. You can browse a huge selection of vehicles for just about any occasion or budget around the U.S., Canada, and the UK. You just search, you put in your zip code, and you can just see cars to rent, cars to share. You book a spacious SUV or minivan for a family road trip, get a luxury car for a special event. You can do whatever you want with Turo. Test drive the new electric vehicle you've had your eye on to see how it fits in your everyday life. Many Turo hosts can even deliver the car right to you. Even every Turo is backed by liability insurance. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Ditch boring rental cars and find your drive at Turo.com. I need a Klondike bar, man. I need something to chill me out. I need a Big Mac. I need something. Woo! Alex Lancy, Locked On Cardinals. Cardinals win 29-23. What the hell are we talking about? What just happened? Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Byron Murphy seals the victory and almost Deshaun Watson's it. Or Deshaun Jackson's it. Almost drops it. Almost gives up control before the goal line, but didn't. I would have just shut it down. I would have just shut it down at that point. Vance Joseph, 1 star. Let's go hockey. Vance Joseph, 1 star. Kyler Murray, 2 star. Isaiah Simmons. So Isaiah Simmons has made maybe the 2 most important defensive plays for the Arizona Cardinals in the last 3 years. Today, and the interception against Russell Wilson on Sunday Night Football, they got flexed because of pandemic that set up the game-winning field goal. What is going on? Vance Joseph, Kyler Murray, MVPs of this game in that order. Coaches need to put players in a position to succeed. Vance Joseph put his players in a position to succeed so Kyler Murray could succeed. Vance Joseph put his players in a position to succeed so Kyler Murray could succeed. 12 penalties, 120 yards. 1 timeout with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. That's what I'm going to remember from Cliff Kingsbury for today. He got the win. He's the head coach. He'll get credit. 12 penalties, 120 yards. And sure, I will give him credit. I will remove some of that because it was a huge Marco Wilson pass interference penalty that the defense held the Raiders to 3 points on. But overall, 12 penalties, 120 yards, 1 timeout with however many minutes left in the fourth quarter and a delay of game on the 2-point conversion that they ended up converting. Those are the 3 things I'll remember from Cliff Kingsbury today. I don't think that's unfair. I don't think that's unfair. He's got to be better. The first half was Cliff Kingsbury. The second half was Kyler Murray. The first half was Vance Joseph holding on because the Cardinals couldn't stay on the field offensively. The second half was what this team is supposed to look like. That's what this team is supposed to look like. Shared. Defense allows the offense to be the strength. Vance Joseph made adjustments. Kyler Murray took advantage. I don't know what happens with the Cardinals this year. Okay? I don't know what happens with them. But I do know that you cannot deny. And listen, there's one thing that I should have said early on. Kyler Murray's not perfect. Kyler Murray made some bad throws today. But he has this second half in him that very few quarterbacks that have ever played this game have. And that's what needs to be remembered. You get a contract based on pass play and potential. This isn't baseball. You don't get a contract based on past numbers. It's pay it backwards in baseball. It's pay it forwards in football. You tell me 12 quarterbacks that are better than Kyler Murray. It's not about being the best. It's not about being the second best. It's about having a quarterback that you can win because of week in and week out. And the Cardinals absolutely have that. And you know what? We just saw it. And that's why I go to bat for him. That's why. I do still believe that Kyler Murray is winning despite Cliff Kingsbury. I do believe that. I do believe Vance Joseph will be scapegoated if things don't go well this year. I do believe that. Because it's a perfect setup. But what we did see today was the Arizona Cardinals showed resolve. They showed emotion. They showed passion that we did not see during the first game and a half of the 2022 season. Now, I've said the one out that the Cardinals have that you can still use to get out of jail free card is, well, they didn't play in the preseason, so week one's kind of a wash. It's like what happened with Tennessee last year on the other side. The Cardinals punished Tennessee. Tennessee ended up being the 1 seed in the AFC. Maybe that's what it is. And it looks to be like the Cardinals needed a game and a half of preseason for the starters to play to really understand what you need for, game run when week one starts. The Arizona Cardinals were in the position to win today because of Vance Joseph. The Arizona Cardinals won today because of Kyler Murray. Alex Clancy, Locked On